Apparently, a win for President-elect Trump has been a win at the same time for cryptocurrency as well. So today, Bitcoin touched a fresh record high with sights set on the $100,000 barrier. So this year, Bitcoin is up around 130%, and a crypto rally has been sparked by expectations of a friendlier regulatory environment under Trump. He embraced digital assets on the campaign trail, promising to make the US the, quote, crypto capital of the planet. In fact, Trump media appears to be venturing into cryptocurrency through a payment service platform. In a trademark filing this week, Trump Media and Technology Group outlined plans to create software that would serve as a digital wallet. The application detailed that the payment platform would be for purchases made with cryptocurrencies. Trump's media group has been working to expand beyond its cryptocurrency core product, social media platform Truth Social. Before President-elect Trump takes office, major automakers are trying to address several hurdles ahead. Now, in a letter, the Alliance for Automotive Innovation told Trump the industry is facing unfair competition and practically impossible timelines. The group asked Trump to keep key tax credits for EV purchases and urged him to speed up self-driving cars deployment. The letter also highlighted unfair competition from heavily subsidized EVs and technology exported from China. It also described deadlines for advanced emergency braking systems and emissions regulations as misaligned with reality. Meanwhile, Americans struggling to afford food are hoping the economy will change for the better when President-elect Trump returns to the White House. Many describe the economy as their main focus for the next 4 years. Here's what a few of them had to say. Listen.
It's a little tough to make your paycheck go the distance, where you could, before you could buy a cart full of groceries for a certain amount. Now you're definitely at half of that, or less.
It's really difficult when you see a single mom that's working 9 to 5 or working 2, 3 jobs, and they have to decide, okay, are we going to have food or am I going to pay this electric bill?
Increase in need has been exceedingly heartbreaking to see so many of our neighbors, especially with inflation and other reasons, having to use our services. But on the other hand, it's been gratifying that thus far we've been able to keep up with the need. That may be the outcome of the election, that people were looking at their immediate pocketbook needs and not seeing the long-term impact. A lot of our food comes from Mexico, comes from Canada, comes from Central and South America. And if we're going to be starting to put tariffs on everything, who's going to pay for that?
If you look at the numbers, we've seen inflation cumulatively over the last 4 years, over 20 percentage points. So numbers many of us we hadn't seen to our lifetime.
If you deport a lot of workers who work cheaper, if you will, that's going to increase the pricing of food. So even food naturally born, raised here might go up. It's going to go up all the way around. So it is scary. That was to me, that was part of my vote in the elections. The price of food all the way around.
At the end of the day, a president in the short run, independent of who is in the White House, has very little grasp on economic policy in the very short run, but also specifically on grocery prices, the price at the shelf we face in our daily lives.
And it looks like Gap sales are feeling festive as the company prepares for new possible tariffs under President-elect Trump's second term. CEO Richard Dixon said about 10% of Gap's products are sourced from China, and the company is keeping an eye on the issue. Meanwhile, Dixon told Yahoo Finance that the holiday season is off to a strong start, and this has given Gap the confidence to raise its expectations for the year in sales, gross margin as well, and opening income growth. Discount retailer TJ Maxx actually believes it will benefit from possible tariffs on all U.S. imports. That's because parent company TJX said the impacts of tariffs would play into its business model. The owners of Marshalls and Home Goods said it only imports a small, undisclosed % of its merchandise. Instead, it mostly buys excess merchandise directly from designer brands. A potential increase in tariffs would have already been paid by the first importer. And a judge has ruled that Sirius XM must simplify its cancellation process. The judge said canceling was clearly not as easy as signing up. Subscribers are required to speak to a live agent trained to keep the subscriber and make up to 5 service offers before the subscriber could cancel. Sira said it plans to appeal the decision, but would make canceling easier with a click to cancel feature that will start in January. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is telling state agencies to make no further investments in China and to divest from their current Chinese assets. NTD's Sean Marshall has more details.
The governor of Texas ordered state agencies to stop investing in China and sell assets there as soon as possible, mentioning financial and security risks, a sign of rising U.S.-China tensions starting to impact global capital flow. In a letter to state agencies dated November 21st and posted to his website, Republican Greg Abbott said belligerent actions of China's ruling Communist Party had increased risks to Texas investments in China and told investors to get out.
Different Chinese interests, as they have done in the past, they may want to challenge this in federal court. They may want to say that their due process rights under the Fifth Amendment have been violated by the states under the 14th Amendment, rather. Sorry, not the Fifth. The 14th Amendment, because it's a state action.
In the letter, Governor Abbott wrote, "I direct Texas investing entities that you are prohibited from making any new investments of state funds in China. To the extent you have any current investments in China, you are required to divest at the first available opportunity." Earlier this week, he issued an executive order to protect Texans from coordinated harassment and coercion by the CCP. FBI Houston also put out a warning to Texans that Beijing may be targeting and harassing individuals of Chinese descent in Texas who speak out against the Chinese regime.
So the bigger weapon comes January the 20th. Bigger weapons will be deployed January 20th when the Trump administration takes office, because that's going to be perhaps where the Chinese interests in the United States, as they have through different companies, Huawei, right? The internet component provider has challenged a number of these executive orders in federal court under the Fifth Amendment.
Texas has been taking an increasingly activist stance in its agencies' investments. It previously restricted public pension funds from doing business with Wall Street firms that have embraced environmental, social, and governance principles. Texas state agencies include the Teachers Retirement System of Texas, which had $210.5 billion under management at the end of August, according to its annual report. The TRS has roughly $1.4 billion in exposure to Chinese yuan and Hong Kong dollar assets. It listed Tencent Holdings as its 10th largest position, worth about $385 million at current prices. Sean Marshall, NTD News.
Random Drug Enforcement Administration searches of passengers at airports and other transportation facilities will be halted for now, pending an internal evaluation. The Department of Justice order comes after an Inspector General report found that DEA personnel could be violating constitutional rights when conducting searches. Also, the report found agents have not been trained on how to conduct the searches since the agency suspended its training program in 2023. DEA agents have been stopping passengers at airports who had bought a last-minute ticket and demanding to search their bags. The searches are supposed to be voluntary, but if passengers refuse, they could be made to wait for a search warrant and miss their flights. If the agents found any cash in their bags, they seized it through civil forfeiture. The DEA has concurred with most of the report's recommendations, but declined to comment. The IRS has announced new changes to reduce tax refund delays and fight identity theft. Starting in 2025, electronic filers can claim dependents already listed on another return. They must include a valid identity protection PIN or IP PIN. The update eliminates the need for paper filings in these cases, speeding up refunds. Taxpayers can sign up for an IP PIN online or in person. The system will be offline after November 23rd for maintenance, but reopens in January 2025. The IRS says this will streamline the process, prevent fraud, and resolve duplicate claims faster. These changes apply to tax year 2024 and future filings. All right, now on to markets. S&P Global Ratings lowered its outlook on 3 Adani group entities today from stable to negative. The agency cited risks to funding access following the indictment of the conglomerate's billionaire founder Gautam Adani. Adani and 7 other people, including his nephew, Sagar, face fraud charges for their alleged roles in a $265 million bribery scheme. Prosecutors say the defendants tried to bribe Indian officials to secure power supply deals. Adani Group has called the accusations baseless. S&P Global Ratings downgraded ratings for Adani Green Energy, Adani Electricity, and Adani Ports to negative. S&P added that the ratings on the 3 entities could go even lower if the allegations are proven to be true. South Korean car maker Hyundai is recalling more than 145,000 electric vehicles in the United States. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said today that the automaker's recall is due to a loss of drive power. The auto safety regulator said that integrated charging control units can get damaged. That can stop the 12-volt battery from charging, which can result in a loss of drive power. Hyundai dealers will inspect, replace, and update the software on impacted parts and its fuse for free. An American financier wants to buy Nord Stream 2, an important asset for Europe and Russia. What are the implications? Here's the story.
American financier Stephen Lynch wants to buy Nord Stream 2, a major gas pipeline that connects Russia and Europe. Lynch says American ownership could give the U.S. leverage over Russia during peace negotiations.
The same way that if we purchase an apartment, we cannot start a fire in the apartment. Ownership of the asset does not allow you to do anything with the asset.
Economist Daniel Lacalle is the author of The Energy World is Flat. He says the pipeline is fully regulated, meaning Russia would still have strong control over it.
It's basically part of the venture capital interest in purchasing more and more regulated assets and activities that they know will have a government supervision. They also know that it's a very stable source of revenues with very good returns.
Lynch is a Miami-based financier who has done extensive business in Russia. He brought up Russian real estate in 1998. He purchased assets of Russian oil giant Yukos in 2007. Lynch also acquired a branch of Russian state bank Sberbank in 2022. Nord Stream 2 is his latest venture. The pipeline has never been active. It was supposed to double the amount of gas Russia sends to Europe, but plans were dropped once Russia invaded Ukraine. Nord Stream 2 was damaged by an explosion in 2022. Only one branch of the pipeline is still fully intact.
McDonald's is shaking up its menu. It's adding new value items in hopes of winning back customers put off by higher prices. On Friday, the fast food chain unveiled a new budget-friendly McValue Menu. The $5 meal deal put in place earlier this year will remain. The chain is also adding a new buy one, add one for $1 option that includes breakfast items. McDonald's is trying to recover after a few dismal quarters. Cash-conscious customers had started to pull away amid rising prices. The average cost of menu items has increased 40% over the past 5 years. The new McValue Menu will roll out January 7th nationwide. CocaCola is getting something right, getting something it didn't want, rather, for the holiday backlash. And that's not right. The soft drink company's new holiday advertisements were made using artificial intelligence. There are 3 of them, and reaction on the internet has been strong. Many social media users complain that Coca-Cola has gone too far into the so-called uncanny valley. That's when computer-generated images look extremely realistic, but something's just off about them. And they can strike some viewers negatively. Some professional designers say Coke is just trying to save a buck by not hiring real artists. But the company is standing firm and defends the ads. In a statement to the New York Times, Coca-Cola says it creates the highest level of work at the, quote, intersection of human creativity and technology. And Wall Street closed higher today, with all 3 major indexes reporting weekly gains. New data shows a measure of business activity rose to a 31-month high in November. This was boosted by hopes for lower interest rates and more business-friendly policies from Trump's administration next year. Geopolitics were top of mind this week as investors monitored a missile exchange between Ukraine and Russia. And that's after Russia lowered its threshold for a nuclear retaliation. The market is also awaiting Trump's Treasury Secretary pick. And that's all today for Business Matters. Back to you guys.